Hello, my name is Lauren Stanton, and this is my case study presentation. Got a little PowerPoint on here. All right. So, a little bit of background information on the student that I have been tutoring. She's an 11-year-old. She's been homeschooled in the past, but due to some circumstances at home, she's not been exactly caught up to the 7th grade. She took a practice TCAP in Johnson County, which is here about an hour away from Johnson City. And they determined she's at a 4th grade reading level. They decided to put her 1 year behind, so she'll be going into 6th grade in the fall rather than 7th for social reasons. Her stepmom contacted me about tutoring her before she goes into public school for the first time. She, personality-wise, is very friendly, curious, and determined. She's aware of being behind in school and reading, but she's very willing to learn to do her work. She has had issues at home regarding her parents and stuff like that, but she's really stuck with the work that I've given her, so that's great. She's a huge fan of anime and Japanese culture. She likes to read manga, which are Japanese comic books and American comics as well. She's eager to socialize with the other kids at school. Her strengths are she has a very strong desire to learn. She's very good at decoding words. She doesn't automatically identify. She usually will sound out and then repeat the word correctly. She's not afraid to read aloud. Things that we need to strengthen, general vocabulary skills. So a lot of that is from a lack of exposure to reading. So she's got a lot of silent reading to do. Writing skills, that's something that she has not touched on a whole bunch. A lot of the schooling that she's gotten, at least recently, has been a lot of online and multiple choice answers and stuff like that. So not a lot of short answer or writing much past sentence level. So we did a couple different tests. We did the QRI-6 word list. So we did the pre-primer, which just went ahead and went all through the high school level. So this was the pre-primer 1, 2, and 3. So she got all the first one right. On 2 and 3, she got one word wrong, but still, was scored within the independent level there. Here, primer and first, so she scored them all independent, and then missed one on the first. I believe she said chose instead of choose. So on that one, the 2nd grade level, she missed though and breathe, and she said through for though and breath for breathe. On third grade, let's see, just missed one, which was glowed. So again, she's scoring within the independent range on 2nd and 3rd grade, which is good. The 4th grade, we ran into just a little bit of trouble here. She's still scored within the instructional range on total correct identified and total number correct. A few words she missed were desert, crops, adaptation, pond. And then on the 5th grade, she actually scored a little bit better, was still within the instructional level on 5th grade. So a couple of words there. And then the 6th grade, still within the instructional level, but here it kind of switched to only 30% of the words were automatic. So a lot of these words, she just had to decode, she sounded them out, and then she would usually then identify and repeat the word correctly, even if she pronounced the syllable maybe with the wrong inflection or something like that. So the upper middle school, we started to run into a little bit of frustration here. Not a lot of automatic words. A lot of these she commented that she had not seen or heard them before, even. And then the high school just went ahead and did that just to see. And yeah, she commented that she hadn't heard most of these words. And yes, scored within frustration level there. So we also did a couple of passages of the reading comprehension. This was the Johnny Appleseed passage that I had her read aloud. She was 83% familiar based on the content questions from this passage. She only had 3 miscues on the reading and answered all the questions correctly. So she scored independently across the board on that. And this was the 5th grade level passage. She was very familiar. She was 92% familiar with the topic. It's definitely one of her strong suits about animals and biology and things like that. So she had 6 miscues on this reading, which put her still as independent. And then she answered 6 out of 8 of the questions right, which was scored her as instructional. And here's a little bit of her reading from The Octopus. May not be able to play. Let's see.
Some people think of the octopus as a giant creature. They have seen this in science fiction movies. They think the octopus is a mean creature who attacks people and other animals. The octopus is really a shy animal. It is usually quite small. The octopus has 8 arms. Its name tells us because octo means 8. The octopus uses its arms to walk on the ocean floor. Its arms have also
Cut off a little bit there, but just an example of her reading. So you can kind of see how she corrects herself there and kind of her level of fluency. So what we learned from the testing was that she's reading between the 4th and 5th grade levels and comprehending those passages very well. So familiarity helps, and a lot of that really made a big difference. We did a few other tests, and I noticed that the lower the familiarity level, the less questions that she got right, and even the reading was a little bit less. Her words per minute were lower, correct words per minute were lower, and so she scored independent in 4th grade reading, and then still kind of borders on the 5th grade reading level. I guess it just, like I said, just depends. She needs more exposure to vocabulary through just extensive reading assignments, just, being exposed to new words and stuff like that. She also needs to develop more fluency, but she did recall things quite well, so her reading isn't so halted that she wasn't able to pick up on things, but it would definitely help to continue reading aloud. It's an exercise she's not really been used to doing in her homeschooling, but I think that it's been helping her read a little bit faster, so that's good. And so yeah, I did give her as a Nebraska State English language arts practice test. Just a short little test. It had 2 reading passages and 14 questions. And so I discovered that she had not taken a standardized test before, when we talked about it. So she did take the one for Johnson County, which was a practice TCAP, and she did not do well. So when I gave her this practice test, which is a 5th grade assessment, she only got 6 out of 14 questions correct. And she, one of the issues that I noticed that she had was, one of the passages was about Marie Curie, and she didn't seem very familiar with a lot of the kind of the terminology that was used in that passage. And she also mentioned that she'd never seen a timeline before, and several of the questions were regarding the timeline. And so I talked to her about that, and we kind of talked about history, and we're going to start working that into her lessons a bit more, because that, that's one of those ways she would have been exposed to a timeline, probably through like some history reading. So yeah, we're gonna work on that. So one of the projects that we're doing right now is a research paper. I had her pick out a topic from this guide, and she picked anime. So we read a little bit from this book, and her next assignment is to bring in 3 valid sources that we can work on to complete a research paper. We're also doing a book study with this book, short stories, about 2 to 4 chapters long. So I have her assigned reading at home, and then a couple of, a worksheet to fill out on that. So this is a really good book. It's probably around a 5th grade level for reading, as far as I could tell. There's a lot of good descriptive passages in there. It's good. So yeah, this is another book that we're reading, and I'm having her pick 2 chapters for each week to read, and then to fill out a worksheet on those. And then when she comes in, we discuss and we talk about it. And then I'm also having her write 2 paragraphs for each of the chapters. So and they're pretty open-ended, just really just kind of checking to see if she understands and what she, kind of her opinions, and just trying to get her to get that down on paper, and just get a little writing practice in there. So we're also working on sentence structure and grammar. We've been reviewing some, because I noticed that she hadn't been using, it was something I had her answer, and that she wasn't using capitals or punctuation really. And I asked her some questions, and she told me she didn't really know, she didn't know like the difference between a comma and an apostrophe. And I said, okay, well, we're gonna work on that. And she did some online work on her homeschool program. And then next time she came in, I went over this with her, and she did good. And she knew exactly when to use capitals and where to use the punctuation. And we even went over different types of sentences and the punctuation for those and everything. She's doing well with that. And so yeah, we're in conclusion, she knows the things she needs to be working on. And writing is really up there, because that is something she seemed very, it seemed alien to her. She just has not had that required of her before to really, put her thoughts into words. So we're working throughout the summer, and we'll be finishing her research paper, and hopefully we can be caught up on 5th grade grammar and sentence structure before she goes into 6th grade. So yeah, that's what's going on. And I've had a lot of fun doing the case study. It's been really informative, and I think it's, yeah. So anyway, that's the end of my my little presentation. All right, thank you.